This is a quick little video of how I swapped the CBR300R engine to my wife's 2018 CRF250l Rally. A few items you'll need to do the swap is obviously the engine and ECU. I swapped the throttle body as well. I don't know if the throttle body needs to be done on these models. This is the second gen 250L that has a larger throttle body, so might not be necessary, but I did it anyway. Take you guys on a little test ride, and I'll show you my impressions of the swap at the end of the video. Alright, this is the throttle body for the CBR300. This is the 250. The only differences I can tell is the fuel line on the CBR comes off at this angle and has a connector, whereas the CRF goes straight in and it's connected straight to the fuel line. There's no quick disconnect. And then this sensor here is flipped 180. I think you can just flip it around on this carb so it'll work. I don't know if you really need to swap throttle bodies. You can maybe just swap this fuel line over. I bought it anyway, so I'm gonna install it. Alright, these are gonna be the differences between the CRF250L motor and the CBR300 motor. So the CRF has a watertight connector for the crankshaft position sensor, whereas the CBR is just a cheap type. You have to swap this type of connector onto it. So I bought just a whole new connector, and I'm gonna put a new one here instead of cutting up my old wire harness. But the alternator charging circuit is exactly the same between the two. It just, on the CBR, the wires all need to be extended because they're a little longer on the CRF. Also, the speed sensor that goes in the top of the motor has a different connector. That can just be taken the bolt out and swapped over. So instead of having to cut and splice that. And also on the ECU, there is, for anyone that has the second gen 250L, there is a pin number 7 in the ECU that on the CBR controls the tachometer. On the CRF250L, the pin 23 controls the tach. On the pin number 7, there's a red plug in the back of the connector, so you have to pull the plug out, swap 23 to 7, and put the red plug into the 23. Test ride time. So final impressions after a few test rides on the bike are feeling pretty good about it. It's got power all across the board, more than the 250 motor. First gear is pretty low, so I need a new chain and sprocket, so I'm probably going to try to gear it up. Actually, I think it has enough power to pull a higher gear, get some lower RPMs in the freeway, so I'm going to give that a try. If not, I'll swap it back to the same gearing. The speedometer is actually a lot more accurate now. It said it was a couple mile/hour off, now it's right on, which chain and sprocket's probably going to change it in the opposite direction. But not much. It'll only be like 2.5%. I'm only going to be able to go about one sprocket down on the back without affecting too much, so I'll give that a try. But overall, pretty happy with it.